the rumors that you'll read maybe in different places is that Daniel was the first African American born in the Salt Lake Valley. That's a rumor that you'll hear a lot. Hello, welcome to Mix It Up, Black History and the Restoration, where we mix up a recipe while we mix up the restoration by learning about early Black members of the church. I'm Taylor Ricks, and today we're going to be making some homemade chocolate sauce, a family favorite, while we learn about Daniel Bankhead Freeman. So, in the pot, I just have a cube of butter. It makes quite a bit, and we keep it in the fridge and just heat it up and use it over and over again. So I have a cube of butter, and then we'll add some sugar, cocoa powder, vanilla, salt, and evaporated milk, so it's super, super simple. So, Daniel, he was born in 1854 in South Cottonwood, and his mom's name is Rose Crosby, but we have no record of what his dad's name is. So, but what we do know is that Rose, his mom, was a slave to William Crosby, who was an early pioneer member of the church. And so she lived as his slave there and had Daniel. So a lot of the rumors that you'll read maybe in different places is that Daniel was the first African American born in the Salt Lake Valley. That's a rumor that you'll hear a lot. However, if we look at some other records, there's probably 10, 12, 15 other kids that were born here that are African American before he was born. So I don't know where that rumor really started. I just know that that's a common one you'll hear, but it's not exactly founded or true. So that's interesting to note. On June 18th, 1865, when he was about 11 years old, he was baptized, and the only thing that was recorded was Daniel of the colored race. That is how he's kept in records. So we're pretty sure it was him though, because at the time there were only 5 or 6 Daniels in South Cottonwood, and he was the only African American one. So that's kind of how we know that that's when he got baptized, when he was 11 years old, which is interesting because they did live, their owner was a member. So it's interesting that it took him a little bit longer before he was actually baptized. So a few years later, in 1880, he married Celia Douglas, his wife, and he worked as a laborer to support his family. So much like many of the past stories that we've heard, he just had to find extra jobs and things like that to be able to support his family. So after spending some time in the South Cottonwood area, which is a little more Wasatch Front, Salt Lakey kind of area, if you don't know Utah, they headed up north to Wellsville and then even further to Corinne. And once they settled in Corinne, that's when Daniel was able to open his very own blacksmith shop, which is huge that he was able to open his own company. Super incredible and impressive. And so some of the things he did there was shoeing horses, and unfortunately, while he was shoeing a horse, one of the horses kicked its leg back and kicked him in the stomach. And his family reports that that's how they found him, and that is how he passed away. So he passed away. We don't know exactly how old he was or where his cemetery is. We just know that according to the family story, that is how he lost his life, is while shoeing a horse that kicked him, which is super unfortunate. He finally was getting settled and got his own business. What's interesting though is that we have record of his daughters and his wife. His daughters' names are Celia, Jr., after his wife, and Mary Adele. So Mary Adele and Celia and his wife Celia joined the Presbyterian Church while he was still alive. There's some records of Northern Utah Presbyterian congregations including them there, but there's no record of Daniel ever joining the Presbyterian Church, and it does show that they stayed active in the Presbyterian Church after he passed away. So we have record that he became a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at age 11, and there's really nothing showing him being active and no idea of him being inactive throughout the rest of his life. And so that is the very short and sweet story of Daniel Freeman. So this sauce, you literally just cook it until all the sugar dissolves, till it all kind of combines together, and then it is super, super yummy. We store it in like a big mason jar with like a lid in the fridge, and then you can just take the lid off, microwave it or whatever, and it's super good over ice cream and brownies. That's my favorite way to have it, but I can't go back to the store-bought Hershey's sauce after using this. So thank you so much for coming to this week of Mix It Up, Black History and the Restoration, and I'll see you all again next time. Goodbye.